The United States, when it reflects on what happened here, has to examine its own policies as well and its own past. Democracies have to have the courage to acknowledge when we don't live up to the ideals that we stand for, when we've been slow to speak out for human rights, and that was the case here.
What we call separation of powers and decentralization. This makes it hard sometimes for America to change as rapidly as we need to respond to changed circumstances or problems.
We have more work to do to promote equality in our own countries, to reduce discrimination based on race in our own countries. And that is impressive, given the history of political polarization inside of Argentina. And that's something I know something about, political polarization. Cuba, like the United States, was built in part by slaves. Like the United States, the Cuban people can trace their heritage to both slaves and slave owners. We do have too much money in American politics. We do have challenges with racial bias in our communities, in our criminal justice system, in our society, the legacy of slavery and segregation. In 1959, the year that my father moved to America, it was illegal for him to marry my mother, who was white, in many American states. When I first started school, we were still struggling to desegregate schools across the American South. Not because American democracy is perfect, but precisely because we're not. It isn't always pretty, the process of democracy. You can see that in the election going on back home. I actually welcome President Castro commenting on some of the areas where he feels that we're falling short. In his view, making sure that everybody's getting a decent education or health care, has basic security in old age, that those things are human rights as well. I personally would not disagree with that.